I do agree with you. As you age, you start realizing what's important versus what's microwave, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like waiting on that home cooked meal, even though it's gonna take a little longer. You know it's gonna be good, so you wait.
Yes.
What's up? It's Lip Service, and listen, we have our good friend here, but I'm Angela Yee.
I'm Gigi McGuire.
I'm L'Oreal.
And we
Neo.
Oh, what's up? My bad. I'm Neil. I was.
You know how this works.
He's like, wait a minute, who am I?
Stephanie to chime in.
And we do have to clarify, when you hear like screaming, that's at his household. There's children in the house, so
Yeah. My little ones is going nuts, but it's all right. It's all good. It's what they do.
We're not mad at it. So you've been having a very active COVID-19 quarantine, right?
Indeed, I have. Yeah. Everybody else, well, I won't say everybody else, but the majority of people kind of looked at this whole COVID-19 thing, this quarantine, as a negative thing. Oh man, we got to stay in the house. We want to get outside, whatever. For me, I honestly, when they said stay in the house, I was like, you ain't gotta tell me twice, because I don't get to stay in the house. I'm rarely at home. You know what I mean? So I took it as an opportunity to lock back in with my kids. Of course, as everybody knows, lock back in with my wife. You know what I mean? Just really get back to the stuff that matters. We tend to let a lot of the stuff that don't matter so much in regard to just the way that we live this thing. And I'm happy that this. I'm not happy that anybody lost their life, of course, due to COVID-19. But I'm happy that this sit your ass down moment happened, because it was needed. It was needed.
You can find some good things.
Moment. We definitely needed this moment. The earth needed this moment.
Right.
I agree. Did y'all say, somebody told me that the ozone layer was healing itself because there was less people driving cars and whatnot?
They said there's a lot less smog and everything, and even like natural wildlife. But I will say the problem here in New York is these rats are everywhere. So that's the
like
one
Takashi,
negative.
or like the ones on the ground?
Both.
Both.
But because a lot of the restaurants aren't open, so they're used to like rummaging through the garbage, and because there's not as much of that. So, and New York's already kind of dirty, so we go outside and the rats are everywhere now.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's disgusting.
That's nasty as hell.
You know what I wanted to ask you, because I've been watching everything you've been doing, right? Do you think that people give up like too quickly in relationships, and especially in marriage?
Oh, absolutely. Nowadays, a person will find any excuse, like why you breathe so loud. You know what? We need space. This breathing you're doing, I can't take all this breathing. They'll find any reason to get out of a relationship nowadays, because relationships are not easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. It's not easy to constantly find that common ground with another person if that person is really being who they are. Like, you two different people with two completely different outlooks on certain things, you're not gonna like each other all the time.
Right.
It's gonna get hard. Being faithful is hard.
For some people.
For some people.
Yeah.
For men.
Whatever. being faithful is not an easy thing to do. It requires discipline that a lot of people either don't have or don't want to work towards having. That's just what it is right now. Everybody wants everything quick and easy.
I would push back and say that being faithful is easier than not, just because I think that once you get older, like having multiple, it just gets like complicated. It's a lot of work. It costs more money than just being like with one person and not having to worry about all those things.
I think it's all in the way that it's done, but I agree with you. I do agree with you. As you age, you start realizing what's important versus what's microwave, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like waiting on that home cooked meal, even though it's gonna take a little longer. You know it's gonna be good, so you wait instead of going to McDonald's right quick and grabbing a burger. You know what I mean? It's that
hot
time.
and ready.
Right.
So, Neil, what do you feel like were your issues, you and Crystal's issues, when y'all decided, like, all right, we gonna have to really call it quits? Was it your fault or was it hers?
You know what? The fault lies on both of us. I can genuinely, truly, and honestly say the fault lied with both of us. I'm not gonna go too heavily into detail just because I'm not, but the best way to put it is, when you are not being honest with yourself about things, and this goes for both of us, it's going to be difficult to get that genuine from anyone. From it's not going to be a genuine connection if you're not being honest with yourself. If you have issues that you need to deal with, you need to deal with those issues. And if you don't deal with those issues will cause a wedge between you and that person that you're trying to be with. And that's something that we both needed to learn. You know, we both had to do some soul searching. We both had to get into ourselves and go, all right, let me put this mirror in front of me and figure out what's wrong with me before I turn it and go, what's wrong with you?
That's very important.
So that was often the solution to the problem.
Y'all had some petty moments, you know, during that breakup too. I will say there was some pettiness going on. I was like, I didn't know Neo was so petty.
Wait, how was it? How was I petty?
It wasn't just you. I said both of you guys though. You did have some petty moments. You know
when drama is drama, it is what it is. I don't think either one of us had. Okay, everybody took Pinky Ring as a diss record. It was not a diss record. Listen to the lyrics of the song. I didn't say anything negative about her. I didn't diss her on that record.
It wasn't flattering.
No, it wasn't flattering. It was a song about divorce.
Right, yeah.
I think the diss was turning the ring into the pinky ring. That was the diss, because it's like, oh, to my heart. That was me saying, as opposed to sitting in the dark room crying my eyes out, I'm gonna keep it pushing. I'm gonna keep it pimping. That was what I was saying. Do you cry me out?
But that's what guys do. You know, that's what guys do during a breakup. I feel like guys, when y'all break up, no, they try to like act like they're okay and just, you know,
they just brush it off and keep it moving.
But then it comes back and affects you later because you didn't deal with it.
And then it hits you even harder, in my opinion.
Even harder. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I won't deny none of that. Yeah, I wrote the song pretty much the night that, you know, the argument happened that caused us to feel like separating. And it was a rant, but it was a classy rant. Okay. I'm not that dude.
I like that.
That's because you are a gentleman.
I'm not gonna do that. That's still the mother of my kids at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy.
She has to live in fear that like he might write a song about me. I gotta be careful. like I ain't trying to do nothing.
She has inspired many songs at this point, but she ain't worried.
The good and the bad.
And the new one right now, right? The new song right now. I don't want nobody else.
You to Love.
I love it.
Yes, You to Love featuring my man Jeremiah. I gotta give credit where credit is due. A lot of this song was Jeremiah already. Like when he brought it to me, the beat was done, the hook was already on it, his verse was done. All I did was add the parts that you hear me on,
nice.
And that was that. So I gotta get that man his props.
But that must have been nice.
Timing was perfect.
You're usually always the one writing the songs, right? So that must have been nice.
You know what?
To do that.
I've been a fan of Jeremiah for a really long time, and I wanted to work with him for a really long time. It's just whatever schedules, you know, situations, circumstances cause it not to happen.
Right.
I'm in the studio working on this album with my man Rockstar. Y'all know Rockstar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so you know, dope producer, dope writer. So we working together. We having a conversation about people I want to work with that I haven't yet. I mentioned Jeremiah. This nigga goes, oh wait, called him up. Jeremiah pulled up that night.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
2 records that night. And one of them is the You to Love joint. So yeah.
That's dope. It's hard to get Jeremiah to do anything that's not music related and being in the studio related.
But when it comes to music, he's always
when it comes to music, he's on point. Yeah.
Because that dude is a musician. You know what I mean? I think that in the music industry you have musicians, you have, you know, artists, celebrities like stars, you know, like the front person. And then you have people that do it from a musical standpoint, and that's the focal point. That's the important part. And I feel like that's kind of what Jeremiah is. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I it's not so much about what I look like or what I'm wearing right now. Listen to this joint. You hear what I just did? It's that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a different cloth. You know what I mean?
You think that breaking up and getting back together might make your love stronger just because during the time apart you realize just how much you miss somebody or just the things that you need to change? And sometimes I think people break up and then they go out there and they try to find something else and it doesn't really work out. And then they realize what I had at home was the best thing I had.
Yeah, I really couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, you know what? It's like I said earlier, we tend to let the outside noise get real loud. You know, be it opinions from friends, opinions of other people. You know, you get on IG and get to reading comments and opinions from people you don't even know. You tend to let all this stuff become really, really important to you for some reason. You know, and it becomes the sound, it becomes deafening to where you can't hear the person that's sitting right next to you, that's been right next to you when you was down, that's been right next to you when you was ugly, that's been right next to you when you was broke. There's, you know, you can't hear that. You can't hear that person because all you can hear is the loudness of what's happening in the world. You know, so again, that's why when we were forced to sit down, you know, we got the opportunity to really look at what's important. And what's important is the fact that I would die for you, you would die for me. That's the love that we share. Right. Everything else we're supposed to be able to work through. Everything else we're supposed to be able to work through on top of that foundation. And here we are.
I feel like the blog quickly tried to like pin y'all against each other. And one of the things that happened was that Crystal was seen out at a party and she was with a guy from Black Ink, Ryan, I believe. So how did that make you feel when y'all are in a situation where y'all are kind of not talking, then you see something like that? Is that something where you call her immediately, or did it kind of just confirm to you that you're like, damn, this is really over? Like, how did that work out?
I know Crystal. I know Crystal better than a lot of people. And I know 100%, I knew 100% for a fact that it wasn't what everybody thought it was. Like, she's not that person.
But that she also knew that was a good picture to make you mad.
Yes, that's what I was
probably
thinking.
Stir the pot at least.
It's a good, hey, you guys, y'all know that's a good strategy always.
Yes.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But I knew that it wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's not who she is. That's not who she is. And I saw it and I'm like, okay, wow, that is definitely petty. Right. But I didn't. I couldn't let it phase me. I couldn't let it phase me. You know what I mean? I had to keep it pimping. I had to keep it pushing. Especially because at this point, I'm surrounded by all of, you know, my crew and everybody. And, you know, a lot of my friends like, yay, we single again. We can roll out. So
why do guys do that?
I have to very much keep that. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? And then I get by myself and it's.
Yeah, it usually seems like guys are the ones to celebrate the breakup.
Why do they do that? It's like, so annoying. Like the friends are so happy. Like, yes, you're single again.
Right, like, but meanwhile, the girlfriends are like, oh no, we're single.
Girl, you're gonna be okay.
Exactly why.
You got your back, girl.
You know exactly why that happens. Especially if the majority of your friends are single too. Then it's like
they want you to bring the streets
and be yours again. Yay. You know what that is.
They also don't care if they're single or not. A majority of them. Your married friends are like, yay, we're single again. And shout out to your friends. I got on my good brother shirt. I saw you were giving away some of their merchandise. Shout out to Vaughn. Who's in a relationship now and he had a baby and everything, so that's dope.
Yes. Did anybody embarrass themselves with you, like as far as maybe jump out the window and be like, you know, I've been waiting for you to get a divorce, not in those exact words, but like I've been waiting for you to break up so I can.
Yes, this is my chance.
Yeah, and then
that must have happened. Look at that laugh.
I will say that my DMs were more active than they had been in a long time once knowledge of the divorce hit. But even more so than people jumping out the window, it was a lot of people that started telling me about myself because I in the relationship, I allowed myself to change behind my marriage. Like I became a different person to my friends. I became a different person to the people that I work with behind my marriage. And you know, that was one part of what we had to work on, is that I had gotten to a place where I felt like I couldn't be me around her. You know what I mean? I don't know how we got there. I don't know what that was, but I had gotten to that place. And it became evident, you know, whenever we were hanging around with my friends, you know, when my friends aren't there, I'm one way. Then when she shows up, I become another way. Wow. And it's like, I didn't even realize it. So like, you know, when I went to my friends, like, hey, I think I'm getting a divorce. It became you know what, bro? I wasn't gonna say nothing. You ain't you. You ain't you in this marriage. Like something is wrong because you're not you. I don't know what, but you're not you in this marriage. And I don't know if this is what needs to happen or whatever, but now that you in this place, now I can tell you, you ain't some, for whatever reason, you're not you in this marriage. You know, so I mean, and I paid attention to that. I paid attention to, you know, just what I would feel when she would come around, and I realized what it was that needed to happen, what conversation we needed to have. We had that conversation. We're in a great space now. You know, and my friends, the cool thing is that my friends see it too. They see now, they can see that, you know, I don't feel like I have to become another person when she's around. I can be who I am, you know, around. I can be me around everybody now. Like,
that's dope.
Well, who are these different people? Like, what's different?
What'd you say?
Like, what's different what's different when you're around your friends that you feel like you had to back then change? Like, what is it that was different when she was around?
Just different elements of my personality. You know what I'm saying? Like a person might say that I'm a bit flirtatious.
Okay.
A person might say that. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it to come across flirtatious. I'm just a very friendly person. Mm-hmm. And there was a point in our relationship where that became an issue. Right. There was a point in our relationship where that became an issue.
I could see that.
To the point where I felt like, all right, wifey's around. Let me do this.
Yeah,
you know
my
to try to avoid us getting into a potential argument later on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that, you know, and that got me to feeling like, okay, if I can't be who I am with you, then maybe we shouldn't be together, because who I am is the person that I am. I'm not being because you're around, and I don't think that should have to be. What? But then she also said, all right, well, I don't mind you being you, but you definitely know the line between being friendly and flirting. You know the line. Like,
there's some limitations.
Yeah. Right. So it really became, again, us going, all right, what is it that's wrong with me, as opposed to what is it that's wrong with you?
It's kind of like,
she's right. I do know the line between flirting and mm-hmm. being friendly. I know the line. I know when it's all right, bro. That's a bit too far. I know. Right. I know. We all know. We act out and we see what we can get away with. That's just what people tend to do in relationships.
You don't ever want to do something like, if you can't do it with your wife there and you would be uncomfortable, then you shouldn't be doing it when she's not there. So I think that's always a good gauge to see what's appropriate and what's not. Like, if I'm comfortable and she's here and I said this or acted this way, and then when she's not here, because I think you can really measure a person by how they act when you're not around, right?
That's true. But I feel like still on the flip side of it, it's kind of like you can't make someone feel so suffocating with being themselves. If that's his personality, yes, like you said, there's a line that needs to be drawn, but that's why I feel like you both had to work on each other, because it's kind of like, what is my insecurity that I feel like I can't just let him flirt with people, and just in a friendly way. Maybe you might take it too far after a while, because you take everything, you know what I mean? Like, okay, he's going to go too far. I know he's going to go too far. So I get what you're saying, where both sides.
But hold on, ladies. Now, y'all not letting your man be flirtatious.
No, but you also don't want some, because I did have a similar problem where I would change my personality around the person that...
I've been told that before, that I changed my personality around.
But it's because they nitpick at things that you would do. So now you feel like, damn, everything I'm doing is
wrong. In order to not do that.
Right, but see, then the conversation is supposed to go, all right, if this is what it is, okay, so you tell me what's the line for you. Mm-hmm. I know what the line is. I know what I feel like the line is. You tell me what the line is for you. And then we compromise. We find a way to where both parties can be happy with the outcome. Like, that's what compromise is supposed to be. All right, it's not completely you and it's not completely me. We both bend a little bit so that we can meet in the middle. You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about some lines.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk about some lines, since we're discussing it right now. Okay, so is this taking it too far, right? If somebody sits, a girl that you're friends with sits on your lap, but it's not in a sexual way, but maybe just
not enough room in the car? Like, what's the reason?
In the studio,
why would this happen?
I don't know. She just feels comfortable enough to do that. You know how some people are just super friendly acting?
That's crossing the line.
I think that's crossing the line.
I can't let I'm not letting nobody sit on my lap. That's crossing the line.
Okay, what about just come in and a hug and a kiss on the cheek? Is that okay?
I mean, it depends on the situation. Yeah, that's fine. Now again, okay, so the kiss on the cheek, there's a friendly kiss on the cheek, and then there's a kiss on the cheek that clearly means more than a kiss on the cheek.
That's true.
It's like half on the mouth, half on the cheek.
You again, you know the line.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
There's a friendly way to do that, and then there's a not so friendly way to do that.
Okay, now what if you're in the club and a girl is next to you in the club and she leans her head on your shoulder for a second? Is that too much?
Why would she? Why would she lean her head?
Angela, what is this?
I'm just asking.
Is it like some sleepy? Like she
right?
drunk?
Is she like I'm
just like I'm so tired of being in the club, Neo. And then next thing you know, there's a picture everywhere.
No.
Because you can't even explain that.
Yeah, I think one part of it is again, like it's very good. The thing that you said, you know, if you wouldn't be comfortable doing it with your significant other there, then you probably shouldn't do it. Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in position to even create confusion. Like so, I wouldn't have no girl sitting next to me and then put her head on my shoulder to where somebody can snap the picture to where now we have confusion about what happened.
And social distancing. Come on, move down a little bit, girl.
And just
we need some slightly more realistic examples of
Okay.
What if it's something that you can't explain? If it's something that can't be explained, then clearly it's something that shouldn't be done. Like if there's no explanation for why this is feasible, then clearly like it shouldn't be something that's happening.
A female artist texts you at 3 a.m.
A female artist.
What does the text say? First of all.
What?
It doesn't matter what the text says. She's texting
you
at 3 in the morning.
What if y'all just left the studio and she was texting to say, I made it home safely?
Or what if she texts you, let's get this Pinky Ring remix going?
I almost spit out my wine.
So annoying.
Lord have mercy. Okay, all right, in reference to that, because I am an artist, because I am a songwriter, because I know what production is and I know what studio work is, an artist texting you at 3 a.m. is not that uncommon, you know, because we keep late hours. That's not that uncommon. Now, what that text message says
is what's important.
That's where we start the line.
An Instagram model, and she's like, you know, I want to be in your video, and it's 3 a.m.
No. No. If that's the case,
it's business.
But it's not. No. But it's not. I want to be in your video.
Artists don't
call me. You call the
casting person. Yeah, you call the casting person.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. Hey, baby. Oh no, you just talk about you want to be in the video. What?
Okay, let's just say one of your single friends brings a group of girls around and they come by the studio. You want to play some music, see how they feel about it. And one of them is like, oh my God, I love this song. And she kind of twerks on you a little.
Nah. Again, that goes back to the whole lap situation. It's like I don't
too close to the private area.
Yeah,
I don't need you on my lap.
We don't need you nowhere in this waist.
No.
Oh, she just died.
Gigi, you all right over there?
I'm good.
She was twerking on the phone. Neo had to push her off.
So, all right. And ladies, like for y'all, because it's just interesting to me that y'all say that, because I know both Gigi and L'Oreal, y'all don't play that flirting thing when it comes to dudes. Like,
yeah, but I think sometimes people take being friendly as flirting, and I think sometimes we do get a little bit jealous. Like that's why I'm saying that, because I do know how it feels. It's like I've been that person, and I've also been the person to be like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't feel good when somebody doesn't feel comfortable with your personality and you don't feel like you're doing anything wrong. But like you said, sometimes you just got to sit down and be like, how would I feel if this was being done to me? And 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't like that shit.
Nope.
Yeah. Or sometimes you just got to sit down with that person and go, all right, let's discuss the line. Let's discuss the boundary, so that so after this discussion, there's no more confusion ever again, because you sat down. All right, here's what I don't like. Here's what I don't like. Here's what's acceptable. Here's what's not acceptable. Cool. All right. Here's what I don't like. And then we find the compromise, and then we run with that. Now, after that happens, if the same thing is still happening, all right, then clearly that first conversation get through. Right. Y'all need to have another damn conversation. Right. Perhaps one a bit more forceful than the last one. You know, like, hey, listen.
We had this conversation already.
We talked about this. What's up?
Communication is the key to success and happiness.
So I wonder, are y'all like are you working on yourselves, or is this like a therapy situation? Because I know some people feel like, oh, well, I could just work internally on myself, but some people need a little help. So did y'all go that route or no?
We all need a little help.
We tried therapy once before, and what we realized is that until we could go to therapy together, we needed to go to therapy separately. You know what I mean? Because it's like I got things that I got to work through. You got things that you got to work through, and us trying to do it together is you know, it's distracting. It's distracting. You know what I mean? So that had to happen before we could even get to a place where it's like, because for example, if I'm apologizing to you sincerely, but you don't know how to forgive, it doesn't matter that I'm apologizing. It doesn't matter how sincerely sorry I am if you don't know how to forgive me, if you don't know how to let go of whatever it was.
I got to get better at that myself.
That takes personal work. Like we can't do that. We can't work that out together. That's something that you gotta figure out what it is that is keeping you in that place where you hold on to stuff. It could be past trauma, could be whatever. But all I know is that I can't help you through that, and you can't help me through what I got to do.
Right.
It has to be a conscious decision. You know what I mean?
If you could be critical of yourself, then are you a jealous person?
No. I'm almost not jealous enough.
I've heard that before.
Which I can honestly say is a defense mechanism, because there was a point in time where I was extremely jealous, and I wound up getting hurt immensely. You know, to where I told myself, you know what? You can't get hurt if you just don't allow yourself to care as much.
Wow. I've had that conversation.
Which is not healthy. Which is not healthy at all. You can't do that to yourself. Now, at the same time, you can't put your happiness in another person. You definitely can't do that. But you can't be this numb thing just walking around either.
Right.
Like you have to allow feelings to enter.
Feelings. For sure.
So no, not a jealous person at all.
Okay. Now, what about your ego? Are you like driven by your ego in any way?
Not really. No. I actually kind of pride myself on my absence of ego. You know what I mean? I'm not the person that needs to get all the attention in the room. I'm not the dude that. I'm not the hey everybody look over here guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Angela, like you see me in social setting. I'm somewhat quiet.
Very chill.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like I be chilling. So no, it's not really that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now let's talk about the new album, because I know you've been working on new music, and I'm sure that you have a lot to be inspired by. So we heard this single. So what else can we expect?
So I'm still working on the album right now. I have not finished it completely. I'm like 3/4 of the way done. I figured 2-3 more records and I'll be finished. All of my music, pretty much my entire career, my music has always mirrored either my personal life or the life of people around me. You know what I mean? This album is no exception. I mean, a lot of things have happened in my personal life over the last year and a half. You know, a lot of things happening in the world over the last year and a half. Yes. So a lot of stuff to talk about, you know, from a lot of different angles, from a lot of different standpoints. There's layers to this album, because it's like there's some vibes that you've heard me on before, and then there's some vibes that, you know, are going to be somewhat new. Like, oh, okay, didn't even realize that was Neo. Like that's what I was kind of searching for.
Nice.
Some of these records. So
you mean like genre wise or like sound wise? When you say
genre wise, sound wise, all the way across the board. Like I just did a lot of searching on this album, because I'll be completely 100 with y'all. I was very much in my head at the beginning of creating this album. You know what I'm saying? Like just keep it all the way funky. I'm 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like this is my, I think this will be my 9th album. Yeah. You know, I've been here roughly 20 years.
Congratulations.
Like, man.
That's fine.
Right.
That's
right.
That's a blessing.
A lot to be blessed and thankful about, but at the same time, it's like, all right, you know, you see it's a whole generation coming up. The sound has changed. The look has changed. Like, where do I fit in what's happening right now? You know what I'm saying? I allowed those kind of thoughts to creep in. And what it took was me just really, again, blocking out the world and getting back to the reason that I do music in the first place. I never got into music because I wanted to be famous. I didn't get into music because I wanted to be rich. I got into music because somebody told me that I could actually get paid to do some shit that I was just gonna do anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But I can fend for my family and myself with some shit that I was just gonna do. Oh, sign me up. You know, so and when you look at it from that place, you just make music for the love of making music. You don't go, is this a hit? Is Rhythmic gonna pick this up? You know, all of these things that stand in the way of the creative process if you let them. You know, you can't think like that. At least for me, I need to be able to go in and just go where my creative vibe takes me and not worry about where it's gonna land.
Right.
And once I finally got to that place, it allowed me the confidence to start working with other writers. For a long time, I wouldn't work with other writers. I just never felt like nobody was gonna give me better than me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when I say the confidence to work with other writers, the confidence to say, okay, I know what I can do. I know how I do things. But to not take advantage of the fact that there are other points of view is to almost blind yourself. Like there's more than one way to do everything. You know, so why would I not take advantage of somebody else's point of view on the same thing, or somebody else's point of view on the beat, or maybe this word as opposed to that word. You know, the lingo done changed up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not keeping up on purpose. So
me too.
It makes sense to pull one of these little younger cats in and go, all right, here's how I say it, and then how y'all say it. Okay, let's figure out how to make these two make sense.
Right.
I really liked your you really help people see a lot of Jonte Austin's work too, like with the verses and everything, for people to realize, damn, he got all them hits. And I feel like that's what's been really great about that. And I think yours in particular really did that.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. We saw the Dream and Sean Garrett's situation and how I kind of went left a little bit.
Yes.
Shout out to the Dream, shout out to Sean Garrett. I am not talking shit. I got love for y'all.
You know they come for you, Neo. You always end up in some drama.
I told Neo I wanted him and the Dream to go against each other. To me, that was a better head-to-head.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
But theirs was set up, you know, and it didn't exactly.
Let's redo it.
Exactly go where it needed to go. All right, cool. Oh wait, there we go. So Jonte pretty much called me the next night, like, "Yo, we should go next." All right, cool. But let's set some ground rules, you know, because let's figure out what didn't go right with that and try to rectify it. So we said, all right, 20 songs a piece, 1:30 per song, right? Boop boop boop. Keep it clean, keep it classy. All right, cool. Called up Swiss, called up Tim. They was like, it was all for it. Got in. It was a gentleman's duel, is what it was.
Oh, I like that.
Jonte even had his little glass of wine. I'm like, damn, bro, if I knew he was doing it like that, I'd be supposed to tell me. I had on a hoodie and shit. I had a red cup. This nigga got a wine glass.
That's all right. That's all right.
Be you. You got to be you. Now, John Legend and Alicia Keys are coming up.
I am so looking forward to this.
That's
for Juneteenth. If you could give people advice on these versus battles as far as like orders to play songs in, and you know, because I think it's hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like people start off like not really doing the hits, and then they chat like, what's some advice you could give from having done it to make sure that you really like. And did you have everything planned out, knowing what song you were going to go against, or were you more spontaneous? Like, oh, he's playing that.
Let me play this.
Yeah.
Nah, I definitely did my research. I knew to a degree what he had coming before it came, and I set up counter songs like, all right, if he play this, I'm gonna play this.
That's
or if he go this way, then I'm gonna play this. You know what I mean? And then plus Tig was there as well, and Tig was like kind of my corner man.
Oh, you cheated!
Like, ooh, that was good. I just go here. No, that wasn't cheating.
Everybody got to have that, right?
Remember Teddy Riley had the whole hype man situation.
Breon hyped it.
Everybody had their atmosphere.
Right.
But yeah, man, it was so ours was, you know, before the thing just really, really took off. So I think we had like 80 to 100,000 people tune in for ours. And I just personally thought that it was a dope moment for R&B. You know, nowadays hip hop gets the bigger spotlight. That's just kind of what it is. But for that many people to tune in for something that was like strictly R&B, because I didn't play none of my pop records. Like we kept it strictly like, you know, Beyonce and Toni Braxton and Aaliyah and Mariah Carey.
Real
like,
R&B.
We kept it in the R&B space, and people stuck around for the whole time for R&B. So I was like, this goes beyond winning or losing, even though I personally felt like once I look back at the playlist, he won. I get it. But it went past that. It was bigger than that. It was a win for R&B music, period. And I felt good to be a part of that.
Nice. I want to know who you think is going to win on Juneteenth.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of hits, okay, because it's hits. That's one thing that I didn't exactly agree with. It's like some battles, even in our battle, we played some songs that wasn't necessarily hits, just stuff that we wrote. Mm-hmm. I think that you should keep to the hits.
Right, I agree with that.
Because some people don't know the hits.
You lost. That's just what it is. You ain't got nothing else to play. It had to at least chart it in the top 10.
Right.
Because sometimes you have songs that might be your favorite. They was just album cuts, but then the general public know the hits.
Not too, exactly.
Right.
Not
right.
too.
If it's a battle, like it should just be hits. Because mind you, if you've done an album, if you've done more than 2 albums, you got songs that you can play. You can play songs all day long. Mm-hmm. That don't. If it's a battle, if I'm trying to win,
stick to the hits.
Bang, 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 bang. I feel like
you still didn't answer whether you thought.
Can I answer?
I want you to pick.
Legend hit.
Go ahead, Gigi. Gigi got her braids, so I know what she's going to say.
I feel like Alicia
I'm going with Alicia Keys.
You are?
I love John Legend and I love his music. But
yeah,
I'm going with Alicia. And I hope that she's sitting at the piano watching.
I think Alicia might get it. If they just
not to mention that
I don't even know if that's happening.
Not to mention that her husband owns Versus.
I think that's why she's going to win. They're going to rig it.
They'd be like, sorry, we lost John Legend. I don't know what happened.
His audio's not working.
Somebody get on the line.
She wins by default.
But they both going to be on the piano.
Can't get John back. We don't know what happened.
I didn't realize that they're both going to be on the piano.
That's so dope if they are.
Oh wow.
I just said that. I don't know.
Why would you make some shit like that up?
Played every song crazy. Back and forth. That would be dope.
Yeah, that would be.
Well, hey, it only makes sense. So. The last thing I want to say is, Neo, I'm sure that you have to be so happy that everything in your life has come full circle. We saw Monietta and Crystal on the live together, getting along. They like each other. And I know so many people out there want to be in that situation, in that space. They've gone through things where they have blended families, and it's been really, really difficult. So, what was that like for you to get to that process? And if you could give those people some advice, what would you say as far as the man's role in making sure the women can get along?
Well, the man plays a role in that, but not as big a role as you would think. Like, it really comes down to the two women being mature enough to realize that there is nothing that we could beef about that is more important than making sure that these kids are raised properly.
Right.
That these kids are raised seeing love and only love from all of their parents or guardians or whatever. That's the part that's the thing that outweighs any beef that we could ever have. Mind you, we don't got to be friends if we just ain't gonna be friends. But we also ain't going to be yelling and screaming and bickering and fighting and fussing and fighting back and forth in front of these kids, showing them that there's beef here. We can be cordial. I can say hi to you when you come around. You say hi to me, we go our way. It's rare, but a blessing that Crystal and Mo actually found, a way to become friends. It's like they talk to each other more than they talk to me now, which is
you jealous?
I'm a little jealous. I am.
I'm happy.
but it was definitely not easy. You know what I'm saying? It's real easy to say the words. It's a whole other thing to now get into your feelings and emotions and try to apply that. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. Crystal took a lot of unnecessary backlash when we first got together because people thought that I left Mo for Crystal. What people didn't realize is that me and Mo had been separated for a year and a half before I even met Crystal.
Right.
But you know how people just naturally take things and create drama, and a lot of people got at Crystal about home wrecker and all of that, and it's like, and she said like, what? Nigga, what you done got me into?
Right. So was that the reason for their differences though? Because was it just that people pin them against each other? Because if it didn't overlap, what was the point of even having an issue with each other at all?
Are you going to like the next woman that your man gets with? Lori?
I think above anything that they had against each other personally, it was the gasoline that the media put on the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it almost felt like people wanted them to be against each other. You know what I mean? Like, it was real rare that anybody was trying to be like, hey, why don't y'all, nobody says that. We're like, that's right, girl. Fuck that bitch and all that. It becomes that, and it's real easy. It's real easy to talk to buy into that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, you got your friends with an opinion. She got her friends with an opinion, and
then you got people who don't even know.
To turn it, it took them sitting down together, sitting down in front of each other, just them two, to come to where they are. You know,
to take the noise out.
Keep your friends over there. Keep your friends over there. Let's sit and really be women about this and get to the bottom of what the real issue is. Once they did that, they're good. You know what I mean? But again, that's a difficult conversation to have. But if I could give any advice, I'd say that it's one that must be had.
Absolutely.
Y'all got to figure out a way, because if you don't, the only people that suffer at the end of the day is them kids.
And I came from that environment. I grew up in an environment where my father was married and also had another woman that he had children by. So there were 3 women bickering, and there were 10 children involved. And I was one of those children. So I saw my mother arguing with his wife or arguing with his other girlfriend and fights and busted out windows. And then I also saw, as I grew up, that they did come together. And I always wished for that day. Like, I didn't get to have the time that I needed with my siblings because our parents were bickering. So the time that was able to happen and they were able to come together, I was like rejoicing, because now everybody's happy, everybody's in love, and I get to spend time with my family, and I don't feel bad for wanting to be with my dad, or, you know, for wanting to be with my dad's family, just because that's the only time I get to spend time with my siblings. So as a child from that, I'm happy for you all, because I've been through that and it wasn't fun.
Neo, does it work the same way with Monyetta? Like, if she's dating somebody, do you sit down, or does she have you sit down with the man, or has that not happened yet?
Yeah, that's absolutely happened. Yeah. She's, I mean, I ain't gonna put her business in the street, but I've definitely sat down and had conversations with people that were around more than just a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, this person that's gonna be around, you know, we get together, we talk, we discuss the ground rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a problem with you disciplining, but don't touch my kids.
Right.
You know, just stuff like that.
Lose your mind for that.
Here's what I want. Here's what you want. Let's figure it out. Let's find a way to compromise and good. And I'll say that it's been a very, very long time since we've had any beef, any drama of any kind. Like, we good.
Well, we're looking forward to the new album. And besides Jeremiah, when you were asked about who else you hadn't worked with that you wanted to, who else did you say?
Oh, man. So everyone knows I've written a song for Beyonce. I've never done a song with Beyonce, and I would love to do that. I really feel like me and Rihanna, we long overdue for another one. You know, Hate That I Love You definitely,
that's right,
made its mark. I feel like it's time for us to get in again. We talked about Jeremiah. We talked about Chris. I actually did get in with Chris. I got one with Chris on the album.
Okay.
We talked about Ty Dolla $ign. I actually got in with him. Who else did we discuss?
We won't be seeing John Legend because you said he was gonna lose. So.
There you go.
It was a tough decision for him. Might surprise you.
But you know what? I love J. Cole.
Okay.
I really want to do a record with J. Cole.
That would be fire.
Like I have yet to do a record about just what's going on in the world right now with the protests and Black Lives Matter and the whole nine. Like I feel like if I tag him for that kind of record, I feel like that would be a moment.
That would make sense.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right. Well, the ever always so talented and chill and cool Neo, thank you so much for joining us.
We appreciate you.
You to Love is out now with you and Jeremiah. So everybody make sure you listen to that. Yeah. Gigi been riding around with the top down, and we're not talking about the car.
All right.
I've been having my windows down, with the breeze blowing through my braids.
That's what it's for.
Real summertime feel.
Summertime ready. Get it going.
Yes.
They also got to check you out on your Instagram on Sundays, right?
Yes, indeed. Every Sunday I'll be on my live, just because I miss performing and miss being able to lock in with my fans. Every Sunday I'll be on my live. We'll be singing songs. As of right now, like at the end of every show, I'll play a brand new song for the new album. Nice. Have a guest call in. You know what I'm saying? We chilling. So yeah, every Sunday, roughly around 7 o'clock PST, something like that, we'll be working out. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Neo. Always appreciate you.
Appreciate the love, y'all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.